Hey everybody, I am Jarrett Ross, the GeneaVlogger, and it's a quick genealogy tip. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a new comparison of the four main DNA companies: Ancestry DNA, Family Tree DNA, 23andMe, and MyHeritage DNA. Next, we're going to talk about 23andMe, which is one of the websites with a larger database, and they're also very well known for their health information. When it comes to using DNA tests for genetic genealogy, 23andMe is the one that I have used the least, but I still have used it and it still has proven useful. Now, the biggest thing to 23andMe that the other kits don't have, or at least they don't have at the same capacity that 23andMe has, is the health information, where it gives you a good breakdown in terms of certain markers that may show that you have health conditions you may want to get checked further. Now, another big benefit to 23andMe is that it actually will give you your Y chromosome haplogroup and your mitochondrial DNA haplogroup. Not all of the websites will do that. Family Tree DNA, you have to pay extra to get those tests done. And while the 23andMe kit doesn't actually show you your matches on your Y DNA or your mitochondrial haplogroup, it's still a great way to get a good idea of that line of the family, and it can be a way to match up to people who have done the extended test through Family Tree DNA. One of the things that I'd have to say 23andMe has better than the other companies when it comes to looking at your matches is they actually have a better comparison page for each match. For both Ancestry and Family Tree DNA, I think they're highly lacking in the fact that you can't see how your matches are matching up to your shared matches. But this is actually something that 23andMe does. When you're looking at your shared matches, you'll see what percentage that you're matching that match at, but you're also going to see what percentage the shared match is matching at that match as well. Another huge benefit to 23andMe that the other websites do not have is they have the best ethnic breakdown by view of your actual chromosomes. For the other websites, if they even show a chromosome breakdown of where your ethnic admixtures are coming from, they only show one chromosome each. But on 23andMe, it shows both your maternal and paternal chromosomes. So you can actually start to figure out which chromosomes are coming from which side if you know a specific ancestry comes from a specific branch of your family. Another great piece to 23andMe is their matching search function. It's very advanced and it gives you a lot of different options. One of the best parts of it is that if you've had your mom or dad test on 23andMe and you connect your kits, you can then phase your matches, just as we discussed before with Family Tree DNA. So you can have it where when you do your searches, you can make it so you're searching only matches that are on your maternal side or only matches that are on your paternal side. Another part of that advanced search function is the ability to look at your matches based on ancestral towns. Along with ancestral towns, you also get your list of top surnames for your matches, and you get a long list. In my opinion, 23andMe has one of the best search functions when it comes to their matching. You can really play with that search engine and make it so that you can find some matches that would seem insignificant otherwise, but by being able to control what matches you're viewing, you can then find some that may actually be significant. Now, some of the downsides to 23andMe include the fact that they don't actually give you numbers of centimorgans shared. All they give you is shared percentages. Another thing I don't like is the fact that there's no new match indicator. You can go into the search engine and narrow it down by who your new matches are, but then when you're actually just going through the regular list, it's hard to see who are the new matches, especially when you're looking at your shared matches. Now, 23andMe has a very basic sharing option, which is a bit better than what Family Tree DNA has, which is nothing. But 23andMe really doesn't give you much. So if you have multiple kits, you're still going to have different logins for each of these kits. The biggest thing missing from 23andMe, which is on all of the other main websites, is a family tree. You can't actually upload any sort of family tree, put in any basic family tree. The best thing you can do is you can put in your ancestral surnames. The last company we're going to talk about is MyHeritage DNA. They've been one of the smaller databases for a while, and they've slowly been climbing their way up. But recently, they've started to make some major improvements, and they're going to become a big contender when it comes to DNA kits. Recently, MyHeritage actually had a conference which you could view live online, and they talked about some of their new updates when it comes to DNA. The biggest being that they're going to be the first, at least the first that I know of, that's going to offer public artifact testing. So what this means is that if you have an envelope where there's a stamp, or even the envelope you believe was licked by an ancestor, you can send these in and they can then extract DNA from under the stamp or under the envelope seal and create a kit out of it. Along with this new artifact testing ability, they're going to be updating some of the tools that they have for DNA matching, and they've been updating these tools over the past year. Now, one thing I really enjoy about MyHeritage is that you can have multiple kits under one login. This is a big part that's really helpful for genetic genealogists and anybody who is actually interested in having a bunch of different family members test. Another benefit with MyHeritage is even though they have a smaller database, they actually have a large international community on their database. So they actually have a lot of matches that you may not find on any of the other databases. Another thing that I like is they have a pretty good searchability for your matches. I don't think it's as good as the 23andMe searchability, but it has a lot to it that the other websites do not have. With this search function, you can sort it by shared ethnicity. You can also look for shared ancestral locations, and then you can look up by ancestral name or surname. Now, the thing that I think MyHeritage does better than the other sites is their DNA comparison page. So when you're looking at one of your matches, you'll see a button that says Review DNA Match. And this will take you to the DNA comparison page where you can see all sorts of details on this match. They give you the percentage of shared DNA, the total centimorgans shared, how many segments you share, and what the largest segment is. They also give you a chromosome browser view of your match. Another great piece to the comparison page is the fact that you can actually see the shared matches, how much you share with those shared matches, and how much your match shares with those shared matches. MyHeritage also has a smart match function, which is very similar to Ancestry's shared ancestor hint. What it's doing is going through the DNA matches and looking for connections between their family trees and the family tree that you have your DNA kit connected to. Smart matching, they also have the shared location function, which will look for family members from your family and family members of your matches who were born or lived in the same areas. Now, as I mentioned before, one of the biggest downsides to MyHeritage is that they have one of the smallest databases of the big four. It's still possible that you can find your relatives, and I still have hundreds of matches, but it's going to be less likely that you will find significant matches just because there aren't as many people. Now, as time goes along and they improve the website and they start adding all of these new features, that may change. Another downside to MyHeritage is that they're one of the companies that I've seen the most negative reviews when it comes to the ethnicity percentages that they give in their admixture. Now, I've mentioned before that every single company will be different in how they do their admixture, and that this is a very new science. So what they're doing in terms of trying to figure out if you're British or German or whatnot, it's still something that is constantly being improved on. So it's not really that important in my mind, but it's something that I figured I should mention because it has been something I've seen a lot. But the biggest downside to MyHeritage DNA is one that Ancestry also has, and that is that you only have a limited access if you haven't paid for a subscription to their company. So if you do not have the MyHeritage subscription, you're not going to get the full functionality of the DNA test as you would if you did have a subscription. Now, having gone over the pros and cons of the four main DNA testing companies, it's still hard to say which is the best to choose. It really comes down to what you're trying to get out of the DNA test. If your main focus is just the medical information, then your best bet will be 23andMe. If your focus is on the ethnicity percentages, the ethnic admixture, then I would say going with Ancestry DNA or 23andMe would be your best options. If your focus is like me and you want to use these DNA kits for genetic genealogy and to expand your family tree, then I would say going with all four of them is your best bet. But Ancestry DNA, Family Tree DNA, and MyHeritage are the three that I think are most directed towards actually helping with genetic genealogy. Now, the same thing goes for anyone who's trying to use these for unknown parentage cases or looking for a long lost relative. If you're trying to use these to find people and to find your family, the wider you spread your net, the more ponds you can put your feet into, the more ability you'll have to find significant matches. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Be sure to check out part 1 where I go over Ancestry DNA and Family Tree DNA. If you enjoyed, please be sure to give it a like. You can also subscribe. It's completely free to do so. You can also follow me at Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at GeneaVlogger. You can also now become a patron on Patreon at GeneaVlogger. I'm the GeneaVlogger. I'll see you in my next video.